If you're feeling a bit deflated, unmotivated in your current job and feeling a bit like, well, it's the same old, I need a change. Well, often jobs can become sort of a bit sort of routine-ish, and you start dreading going into work and you're feeling anxious about turning up. Well, now's the time for some action. But remember, these are down to you, these action points that we're going to talk about. We'll talk about 3 of them to make those changes and make a real difference for you. So the first of these 3 action points is your attitude a good one? Go on, go and have a look in the mirror, have a little chat with yourself and think, right, I need to make a decision. Should I stay or should I go? But I've really got to think, if I'm going to stay, I've got to think about my attitude and make a decision and stick to it. And if you decide you stick in your current job, no more complaining, no more moaning about them or they, or about the company or your manager or even your team. Look at yourself and think, right, what can I do differently? How can I fall back in love with my job and feel that I'm doing something worthwhile? If that isn't there and it's not hitting your values, hey, you need to make a decision. But if you make that decision to stay, you've got to go for it. You've got to think about, is my attitude going to be 100%? No, 110%. And I'm going to really make it work. And perhaps I'm going to think, right, next Monday, I'm going to see it as a new job and give it a go. Step 2 of the 3 steps that we're looking at is it's time to be proactive. As I always say, there's no them and they. You can't sit around and wait for them and they to do things. Decide what you really want from your job. It's sort of all right, but there's these things that are missing. This isn't quite right, and I'd like to get more involved in that. We'll go and have some proactive conversations, with your manager or other people in the business that can influence these things. Have some honest conversations. Don't just wait until you do a review or a PDR review. Go and do it now. Don't wait for those appraisal conversations. Go and say to your manager or whoever it needs to be, we need to have a conversation because this is how I'd like it to be. Can this be the case? What do I need to do to make that difference? So what can you do to be more proactively to get involved in projects, ideas? Find out how the company actually works, which I think is a big issue for a lot of people, is that we only know what our little area is about. What happens in other areas? What are they up to? Anything sexy and exciting there that you feel, do you know what, I'd love to get involved in that. I've really got really good experience and knowledge in those areas. Why don't they ask me? Well, start waving your flag. Go and get involved. Get involved in conversations, not just with your manager, but other people in the business. And if you're not going into the working environment on a regular basis, start booking some Teams calls or some Zoom calls to have these types of conversations. If you are going into the working environment, make opportunities to bump into people, have chats, go and have a conversation, try and grab a coffee, some of the old traditional things that we used to do. Don't just wait for them and they to do things. So network across the business. You may like to decide to sort of perhaps to ask someone for a bit of mentoring, or you get involved in a bit of mentoring. It's a great way of adding value and purpose in what we do. So step 3 of the 3 steps, step up and better yourself. No more procrastination. As we said, be proactive, but you've got to step up and be blooming good at what you do. What skills, knowledge or experiences or competencies do you need to develop? Sit down and have a look at your job description, what areas that you need to develop. But if you want to get involved in other areas, look at other job descriptions. What do you need to develop and improve on? You've got to add more value to feel more valued. You've got to add something to the organisation, to the teams. So if you want more purpose and value, you've perhaps got to contribute a lot more. It's not just going to land on a plate. So start asking for more coaching sessions with your manager. As we've already said, ask someone for a bit of mentoring advice. What training do you need to get involved? Be more proactive in your appraisals and PDRs with ideas. Don't go along with a whole list of moany points. Go with ideas of how you can better yourself, what you can contribute, how you can get more involved, and the other areas from the other 2 tips. Procrastination isn't an answer. So there you have it. 3 key steps to help you create more value and purpose in your current job. Step 1, is your attitude a good one? Step 2, time to be proactive. No waiting for them and they. And step 3, step up and better yourself and enjoy the journey and give it everything.